Need something?
Dean Inga says a bard can never have enough practice. So, would you like a tune?
Youngest bard at the Bard's College, at your service.
Tendrils of thought may wind their way through this realm, but those tendrils bind our reality together.
Steward, when is my appointment to meet with General Tullius? There are some issues we must speak about.
I swear to you, unnatural magics are coming from that cave. There are strange noises and lights. We need someone to investigate.
Then we will immediately send out a legion to scour the cave and secure the town. Hafingar's people will always be safe under my rule.
Your Eminence, my scrying has suggested nothing in the area. Dragon Bridge is under Imperial control. This is likely superstitious nonsense.
Perhaps a more tempered reaction might be called for?
Oh, yes, of course, you were right. Falk, tell Captain Aldous I said to assign a few extra soldiers to Dragonbridge.
Thank you, Jarl Elisif. But about the cave?
I will have someone take care of the cave as well, Varnius. You can rest easy. You're dismissed. Do you have business with the court? Oh, right, the rum. Thank you. I developed a taste for it after a fair weather trip to Hammerfell. Here, this is for you.
What will happen to Elisif if the Empire wins the war?
That remains to be seen. By rights, she has a legitimate claim as High Queen of Skyrim. But we must have the support of the other Jarls for that claim to have any meaning. Should they accept her rule, we will have peace. Feel free to return to me with questions. The Blue Palace is an open... I am the Jarl's steward. If you have court business...
I hear you're
to
looking
tend
for
to,
some help with Wolfskull Cave.
You mean the Dragon Bridge issue? I'll be honest with you. I was planning to let that go. Varnius is a bit jumpy at the best of times. There have been reports of weird happenings near Wolfskull Cave. Travelers disappearing, odd lights. I suspect wild animals, or perhaps bandits. I don't think it's worth our time with the war going on. But if you want to clear out the cave, I'll make sure you're repaid for your work. Please, feel welcome in the court. Solitude.
Steward, I will need the following reagents for my studies. Please see to them.
Miss Stentor, these are quite expensive. I trust you know how limited the Hold's funds are at this time.
Yes, and I'm also aware of how necessary my divinations and wards have been in the city's defense. My experiments are all I ask for in return.
Very well.
Watch your feet. We just clean there.
This one only became yours because her husband died. She'll be replaced in a matter of months.
Miss Stentor, watch your tongue in the Jarl's court.
On threat.
The Real Baron Zaya, Volume 3, by Anonymous. Unauthorized biography of the famous Queen Mother of Morrowind, Volume 3. For several days, Baron Zaya felt a weight of sorrow at her separation from her friends. But by the second week out, her spirits began to rise a little. She found that she enjoyed being on the road again, although she missed Straw's companionship more than she would have thought. They were escorted by a troop of Red Guard knights with whom she felt comfortable, although these were much more disciplined and decorous than the guards of the merchant caravans she had spent time with. They were genial but respectful towards her, despite her attempts at flirtation. Symmachus scolded her privately, saying a queen must maintain royal dignity at all times. "You mean I'm never to have any fun?" she inquired petulantly. "Aye, not with such as these. They are beneath you. Graciousness is to be desired from those in authority, my lady. Familiarity is not. You will remain chaste and modest while you are at the Imperial City." Baronziah made a face. "I might as well be back at Darkmoor Keep. Elves are promiscuous by nature, you know. Everyone says so." "Everyone is wrong, then. Some are, some aren't. The Emperor, and I, expect you to display both discrimination and good taste. Let me remind you, Your Highness, that you hold the throne of Mournhold, not by right of blood, but solely at the pleasure of Tiber Septim. If he judges you unsuitable, your reign will end ere it begins. He requires intelligence, obedience, discretion, and total loyalty of all his appointees, and he favors chastity and modesty in women. I strongly suggest you model your deportment after our good Drelian, my lady." "Might his life be back in Darkmoor?" Baronziah snapped resentfully, offended at the thought of emulating the frigid, prudish Drelian in any way. "That is not an option, Your Highness. If you are of no use to Tiber Septim, he will see to it that you are of no use to his enemies either," the general said portentously. "If you would keep your head on your shoulders, take heed. Let me add that power offers pleasures other than those of carnality and cavorting with base company." He began to speak of art, literature, drama, music, and the grand balls thrown at the imperial court. Baronziah listened with growing interest, spurred on not entirely by his threats. But afterward, she asked timidly if she might continue her study of magic while at the imperial city. Symmachus seemed pleased at this and promised to arrange it. Encouraged, she then said that she noted 3 of their knights' escort were women, and asked if she might train a little with them, just for the sake of exercise. The general looked less delighted at this, but gave his consent, though stressing it would only be with the women. The late winter weather held fair, though slightly frosty, for the rest of their journey, so that they traveled quickly over firm roads. On the last day of their trip, spring seemed to have arrived at last, for there were hints of a thaw. The road grew muddy underfoot, and everywhere one could hear water trickling and dripping faintly but steadily. It was a welcome sound. They came to the great bridge that crossed into the imperial city at sunset. The rosy glow turned the stark, white marble edifices of the metropolis a delicate pink. It all looked very new and grand and immaculate. A broad avenue led north towards the palace. A crowd of people of all sorts and races filled the wide concourse. Lights winked out in the shops and on in the inns as dusk fell, and stars came out singly, then by 2s and 3s. Even the side streets were broad and brightly illuminated. Near the palace, the towers of an immense mages' guild hall reared towards the east, while westward, the stained glass windows of a huge tabernacle glittered in the dying light. Symmachus had apartments in a magnificent house 2 blocks from the palace, past the temple. "The Temple of the One," he identified as they passed it, an ancient Nordic cult which Tiber Septim had revived. He said that Baronziah would be expected to become a member should she prove acceptable to the Emperor. The place was quite splendid, although little to Baronziah's taste. The walls and furnishings were done in utter pristine white, relieved only by touches of dull gold, and the floors in dully gleaming black marble. Baronziah's eyes ached for color in the interplay of subtle shadings. In the morning, Symmachus and Drelian escorted her to the imperial palace. Baronziah noted that everyone they met greeted Symmachus with a deferential respect, in some cases bordering on obsequiousness. The general seemed to take it for granted. They were ushered directly into the imperial presence. Morning sun flooded a small room through a large window with tiny panes, washing over a sumptuously laden breakfast table and the single man who sat there, dark against the light. He leapt to his feet as they entered and hurried towards them. "Ah, Symmachus, our most loyal friend, we welcome your return most gladly." His hands held Symmachus's shoulder briefly, fondly, halting the deep genuflection the dark elf had been in the process of effecting. Baronziah curtsied as Tiber Septim turned toward her. "Baronziah, our naughty little runaway. How do you do, child? Here, let us have a look at you. Why, Symmachus, she's charming, absolutely charming. Why have you hidden her from us all these years? Is the light too much, child? Shall we draw the hangings? Yes, of course." He waved aside Symmachus's protests and drew the curtains himself, not troubling to summon a servant. "You will pardon us for this discourtesy towards yourselves, my dear guests. We've much to think of, though that's scant excuse for hospitality's neglect. But pray join us. There's some excellent nectarines from Blackmarsh." They settled themselves at the table. Baron Zaya was dumbfounded. Tiber Septim was nothing like the grim, gray, giant warrior she'd pictured. He was of average height, fully half a head shorter than tall Symmachus, although he was well-knit of figure and lithe of movement. He had a winning smile, bright, indeed piercing blue eyes, and a full head of stark white hair above a lined and weathered face. He might have been any age from 40 to 60. He pressed food and drink upon them, then repeated the question the general had asked her days ago. Why had she left home? Had her guardians been unkind to her? No, Excellency, Baron Zaya replied. In truth, no, although I fancied so at times. Symmachus had fabricated a story for her, and Baron Zaya told it now, although with a certain misgiving. The stable boy, Straw, had convinced her that her guardians, unable to find a suitable husband for her, meant to sell her off as a concubine in Riyadh, and when a Red Guard had indeed come, she had panicked and fled with Straw. Tiber Septim seemed fascinated, and listened raptly as she provided details of her life as a merchant caravan escort. Why, 'tis like a ballad, he said. By the one, we'll have the court bard set it to music. What a charming boy you must have made. General Symmachus said... Baron Zaya stopped in some confusion, then proceeded. He said, well, that I no longer look much like a boy. I have grown in the past few months. She lowered her gaze in what she hoped approximated maidenly modesty. He's a very discerning fellow, is our loyal friend Symmachus. I know I've been a very foolish girl, excellently. I must crave your pardon, and that of my kind guardians. I realized that some time ago, but I was too ashamed to go back home. But I don't want to return to Darkmoor now, Excellency. I long for Mournhold. My soul pines for my own country. Our dear child, you shall go home, we promise you, but we pray you remain with us a little longer, that you may prepare yourself for the grave and solemn task with which we shall charge you. Baron Zaya gazed at him earnestly, heart beating fast. It was all working just as Symmachus had said it would. She felt a warm flush of gratitude toward him, but was careful to keep her attention focused on the Emperor. I am honored, Excellency, and wish most earnestly to serve you in this great empire you have built in any way I can. It was the politic thing to say, to be sure, but Baron Zaya really meant it. She was awed at the magnificence of the city, and the discipline and order evident everywhere, and moreover, was excited at the prospect of being a part of it all, and she felt quite taken by the gentle Tiber Septim. After a few days, Symmachus left for Mournhold to take up the duties of a governor until Baron Zaya was ready to assume the throne, after which he would become her prime minister. Baron Zaya, with Trelian as chaperone, took up residence in a suite of rooms at the imperial palace. Several tutors were provided her, in all the fields deemed seemly for a queenly education. During this time, she became deeply interested in the magical arts, but she found the study of history and politics not at all to her preference. On occasion, she met with Tiber Septim in the palace gardens, and he would unfailingly and politely inquire as to her progress, and chide her, although with a smile, for her disinterest at matters of state. However, he was always happy to instruct her on the finer points of magic, and he could even make history and politics seem interesting. They're people, child, not dry facts in a dusty volume, he said. As her understanding broadened, their discussions grew longer, deeper, and more frequent. He spoke to her of his vision of a united Tamriel, each race separate and distinct, but with shared ideals and goals, all contributing to the common weal. Some things are universal, shared by all sentient folk of goodwill, he said. So the one teaches us. We must unite against the malicious and the brutish, the miscreated, the orcs, trolls, goblins, and other worse creatures, and not strive against one another. His blue eyes would light up as he stared into his dream, and Baron Zaya was delighted just to sit and listen to him. If he drew close to her, the side of her body next to him would glow as if it were a smoldering blaze. If their hands met, she would tingle all over, as if his body were charged with a shock spell. One day, quite unexpectedly, he took her face in his hands and kissed her gently on the mouth. She drew back after a few moments, astonished by the violence of her feelings, and he apologized instantly. We didn't mean to do that. It's just... Oh, you are so beautiful, dear. So very beautiful. He was looking at her with hopeless yearning in his generous eyes. She turned away, tears streaming down her face. Are you angry with us? Speak to us, please. Baron Zaya shook her head. I could never be angry with you, Excellency. I love you. I know it's wrong, but I can't help it. We have a consort, he said. She is a good and virtuous woman, the mother of our children and future heirs. We could never put her aside. Yet there is nothing between us and her. No sharing of the spirit. She would have us be other than what we are. We are the most powerful person in all of Tamriel, and Baron Zaya, I think I am the most lonely as well. He stood up suddenly. Power, he said with sublime contempt. I'd trade a goodly share of it for youth and love if the gods would only sanction it. But you are strong and vigorous and vital, more than any man I've ever known. He shook his head vehemently. Today, perhaps. Yet I am less than I was yesterday, last year, 10 years ago. I feel the sting of my mortality, and it is painful. If I can ease your pain, let me. Baronziah moved towards him, hands outstretched. No, I would not take your innocence from you. I am not that innocent. How so? The Emperor's voice suddenly grated harshly, his brows knitted. Baronziah's mouth went dry. What had she just said? But she couldn't turn back now. He would know. There was straw, she faltered. I was lonely too. Am, and not so strong as you. She cast her eyes down in abashment. I guess I'm not worthy, Excellency. No, not so, Baronziah. My Baronziah. It cannot last for long. You have a duty towards Mornwall, and a duty towards the Empire. I must tend toward mine as well. But while we may, shall we share what we have, what we can, and pray the one forgives us our frailty? Tiber Septim held out his arms, and wordlessly, willingly, Baronziah stepped into his embrace. You caper on the edge of a volcano, child, Drelian admonished, as Baronziah admired the splendid star sapphire ring her imperial lover had given her to celebrate their 1-month anniversary. How so? We make one another happy. We harm no one. Simicus bade me be discriminating and discreet. Who better could I choose? And we've been most discreet. He treats me like a daughter in public. Tiber Septim's nightly visits were made through a secret passage that only few in the palace were privy to, himself and a handful of trusted bodyguards. He slavers over you like a cur at his supper. Have you not noticed the coolness of the Empress and her son toward you? Baronziah shrugged. Even before she and Septim had become lovers, she'd received no more from his family than bare civility, threadbare civility. What matter? It is Tiber who holds the power, but it is his sons who hold the future. Do not put his mother up to public scorn, I beg you. Can I help it if that dry stick of a woman cannot hold her husband's interest, even in conversation at dinner? Have less to say in public, that is all I ask. She matters little, it's true, but her children love her, and you do not want them as enemies. Tiber Septim is not long to live. I mean, Drelian amended quickly at Baronziah's scowl. Humans are all short-lived, ephemeral, as we of the elder races say. They come and go as the seasons, but the families of the powerful ones live on for a time. You must be a friend to this family, if you would see lasting profit from your relationship. But how can I make you see truly, you who are so young and human-bred as well? If you take heed, and wisely, you and Mournhold are like to live to see the fall of Septim's dynasty, if indeed he has founded one. Just as you have witnessed its rise, it is the way of human history. They ebb and flow like the inconsistent tides. Their cities and dominions bloom like spring flowers, only to wither and die in the summer sun. But the elves endure. We are as a year to their hour, a decade to their day. Baronziah just laughed. She knew that rumors abounded about her and Tiber Septim. She enjoyed the attention, for all save the Empress and her son seemed captivated by her. Minstrels sang of her dark beauty and her charming ways. She was in fashion and in love, and if it was temporary, well, what was not? She was happy for the first time she could remember, each of her days filled with joy and pleasure, and the nights were even better. What is wrong with me? Baronziah lamented. Look, not one of my skirts fit. What's become of my waistline? Am I getting fat? Baronziah regarded her thin arms and legs and her undeniably thickened waist in the mirror with displeasure. Drelian shrugged. You appear to be with child, young as you are. Constant pairing with a human has brought you to early fertility. I see no choice but for you to speak with the Emperor about it. You are in his power. It would be best, I think, for you to go directly to Mournhold if he would agree to it, and bear the child there. Alone? Baronziah placed her hands on her swollen belly, tears forming in her eyes. Everything in her yearned to share the fruit of her love with her lover. He'll never agree to that. He won't be parted from me now. You'll see. Drelian shook her head. Although she said no more, a look of sympathy and sorrow had replaced her usual cool scorn. That night, Baronziah told Tiber Septim when he came to her for their usual assignation. With child? He looked shocked. No, stunned. You're sure of it? But I was told elves do not bear at so young an age. Baronziah forced a smile. How can I be sure? I've never... I shall have my healer fetched. The healer, a high elf of middle years, confirmed that Baronziah was indeed pregnant, and that such a thing had never been known before to happen. It was a testimony to his excellency's potency, the healer said in sycophantic tones. Tiber Septim roared at him. This must not be, he said. Undo it. We command you. Sire, the healer gaped at him. I cannot? I may not? Of course you can, you incompetent dullard, the Emperor snapped. It is our express wish that you do this. Baronziah, till then silent and wide-eyed with terror, suddenly sat up in bed. No, she screamed. No, what are you saying? Child. Tiber Septim sat down beside her, his face wearing one of his winning smiles. I'm so sorry, truly, but this cannot be. Your issue would be a threat to my son and his sons. I shall no more put it plainly than that. But the child was yours I bare, she wailed. No, it is now but a possibility, a might be, not yet gifted with a soul, quickening to life. I will not have it so. I forbid it. He gave the healer another hard stare, and the elf began to tremble. Sire, it is her child. Children are few among the elves. No elven woman conceives more than 4 times, and that is very rare. 2 is the usual number. Some bear none even, and some only 1. If I take this one from her, sire, she may not conceive again. You promised us she would not bear to us. We've little faith in your prognostications. Varanzaya scrambled naked from the bed and ran for the door, not knowing where she was going, only that she could not stay. She never reached it. Darkness overtook her. She awoke to pain and a feeling of emptiness. A void where something used to be, something that used to be alive, but now was dead and gone forever. Drelianne was there to soothe the pain and clean up the blood that still pooled at times between her legs. But there was nothing to fill the emptiness. There was nothing to take the place of the void. The Emperor sent magnificent gifts and vast arrangements of flowers, and came on short visits, always well attended. Baronzire received these visits with pleasure at first, but Tiber Septim came no more at night, and after some time, nor did she wish him to. Some weeks passed, and when she was completely physically recovered, Drelianne informed her that Symmachus had written to request she come to Mournhold earlier than planned. It was announced that she would leave forthwith. She was given a grand retinue, an extensive trousseau befitting a queen, and an elaborate and impressive ceremonial departure from the gates of the imperial city. Some people were sorry to see her leave, and expressed their sadness in tears and expostulations, but some others were not, and did not.
What exactly? This city wouldn't run without me. Now if you'll excuse me, my work awaits.
Need something? Until next time.
You there, traveler! Over here! Never should have come here! Ah!
Someone there?
I'll see you burn!
Wolf Queen, hear our call and awaken. We summon Potema. We summon Potema. Long have you slept the dreamless sleep of death, Potema. No longer. Hear us, Wolf Queen. We summon you. We summon Potema.
I knew it!
You're pathetic! You think you stand a chance?
Is someone there?
Yes! Yes! Return me to this realm! As our voices summon you, the blood of the innocent binds you, Wolf Queen. Summon with words bound by blood. What? What are you doing, you fools? You cannot bind me to your wills. Summoned words bound by blood. You ants don't have the power to bind me!
Is someone there?
Something is wrong. There is an intruder. Is someone there?
You're mine!
Come here.
Stop the intruder! Do your worst!
I can do this all day!
I love this fight!
If you know any true sons and daughters of Skyrim, tell them to head to Windhelm. Ulfric Stormcloak wants to see them.
citizen.
Come on in. We got warm food, warm drinks, and warm beds.
I wanted you to have this.
I have no business with you. Leave me.
Welcome to the Winking Skeever, friend. Of course.
Stupid dog.
Of course. Remember the Winking Skeever next time you're footsore.
There's nothing like a good song to lift the spirit in troubled times.
What's the word around town?
Generally, if you want rumors, you should talk to Corpulus. That said, I did see a visitor pass through on his way to the Blue Palace.
Does being a bard pay well?
Oh, no. But being surrounded by good music, good drink, and good friends is all I've ever asked for.
So you're a member of the Bard's College?
Only in that I'm a graduate. I work over at the Winking Skeever. I would highly recommend it, though. Talk to Viarmo if you're interested. Come by the Winking Skeever anytime you want to hear a tune. Sorry, I was lost in thought. I'm planning my wedding, you see. So many details to work out.
You wouldn't be a sellsword, would you? I have a little problem you could solve.
What's this problem you have?
I may have accidentally let a prisoner escape, the leader of one of those bandit groups. I told everyone he died during questioning, and I need you to track him down and make sure he doesn't show up to disprove that.
I'll do it.
Good. I'll have a sack of coin waiting for you when you get back.
You were the one who executed that man?
I'm the headsman here in Solitude. It's my job.
Do they keep you busy?
Depends on what you mean by busy. I'm also the head jailer in the dungeon here. Quiet job, usually.
When's your next execution?
Ain't got one, but I'd fancy a chance at that Jari Ra's scrawny neck. Filthy Argonian never would have set foot in this city if High King Torrig was still alive. I can tell you that.
I took care of him and the Black Blood Marauders.
Good man. Remember, I need that bandit dead, not alive.
The Winking Skeever's got warm beds and cold mead. You look like you could use both. You've returned. Good. What did you find at Wolf Skull Cave?
Some necromancers were attempting to summon and bind Potema.
Potema herself? Please tell me you stopped them.
I interrupted their ritual. It's done.
You've done a larger service to the realm than you could possibly know. A resurrected Potema. I shudder at the thought.
They say Ulfric Stormcloak murdered the High King. With his voice. Shouted him apart.
You help me. You help people, right? That's what you do.
Watch what you're doing. Seems there's no end to the needs of the Imperials. But what can I help you with?
What have you got for sale?
Take a look. Return anytime you need arms or armor. My forge.
Wait here. Follow me.
Wanderer like you must have plenty of tales to tell.
What have you got for sale?
But I'm afraid I'm too... Take a look. Keep safe, and always wear your armor.
he wants. Get one rusty septum from me. Huh? Maybe someone there? Someone there? Maybe someone there? Should have known she was lying. She said she'd wait for me. Gotta start keeping a knife in her boot. Wait. Tired of getting this on. Come on! I damn you!
Beggar by Revan, the first chapter in the adventures of Eslaf Arrow. It should be noted that though these books may appear to be an historical account, they are completely fictional, as indicated by the names of the major characters, each of which, when spelled backwards, gives a pretty clear indication to this fact. Eslaf Arrow is false lore, Laparcopa apocryphal, Itluaf faulty, Inope phony, Leernu unreal, Suibud dubious, Lysifitra artificial, Druzba absurd, Ilekilnu unlikely. Even the author's name is never spelled backwards. Eslaf Errol was the last of the litter of 5 born to the queen of the prosperous Nordic kingdom of Erlgard, Laparcopa, and her husband, the king of Erlgard, Itluaf. During pregnancy, the queen had been more than twice as wide as she was tall, and the act of delivery took 3 months and 6 days after it had begun. It is perhaps understandable that the Laparcopa elected, upon expelling Eslaf to frown, say, "Good riddance," and die. Like many Nords, Itluaf did not care very much for his wife and less for his children. His subjects were puzzled, therefore, when he announced that he would follow the ancient tradition of his people of Atmora of following his beloved spouse to the grave. They had not thought they were particularly in love, nor were they aware that such a tradition existed. Still, the simple people were grateful, for the little royal drama alleviated their boredom, which was and is a common problem in the more obscure parts of northern Skyrim, particularly in wintertide. He gathered his household staff and his 5 fat, bawling little heirs in front of him and divided his estate. To his son Inope he gave his title, to his son Leernu he gave his land, to his son Suibud he gave his fortune, to his daughter Lysifitra he gave his army. Itluaf's advisors had suggested keeping the inheritance together for the good of the kingdom, but Itluaf did not particularly care for his advisors, or the kingdom for that matter. Upon making his announcement, he drew his dagger across his throat. One of the nurses, who was rather shy, finally decided to speak as the king's life ebbed away. "Your Highness, you forgot your 5th child, little Eslaf." Good Itluaf groaned. It is somewhat hard to concentrate with blood gushing from one's throat after all. The king tried in vain to think of something to bequeath, but there was nothing left.
Finally, he sputtered, irritably, Eslaf should have taken something then, and died. That a babe but a few days old was expected to demand his rightful inheritance was arguably unfair. But so Eslaf Arrow was given his birthright with his father's dying breath. He would have nothing but what he had taken. Since no one else would have him, the shy nurse, whose name was Druzhba, took the baby home. It was a decrepit little shack, and over the years that followed, it became more and more decrepit. Unable to find work, Druzhba sold all of her furnishings to buy food for little Eslav. By the time he was old enough to walk and talk, she had sold the walls and the roof as well, so they had nothing but a floor to call home. And if you've ever been to Skyrim, you can appreciate that that is scarcely sufficient. Druzhba did not tell Eslav the story of his birth, or that his brothers and sister were leading quite nice lives with their inheritances, for, as we have said, she was rather shy and found it difficult to broach the subject. She was so painfully shy, in fact, that whenever he asked any questions about where he came from, Druzhba would run away. That was more or less her answer to everything, to flee. In order to communicate with her at all, Eslav learned how to run almost as soon as he could walk. He couldn't keep up with his adopted mother at first, but in time, he learned to go toe-heel, if he anticipated a short but fast sprint, and heel-toe, if it seemed Druzhba was headed for a long-distance marathon flight. He never did get all the answers he needed from her, but Eslav did learn how to run. The kingdom of Erelgard had, in the years that Eslav was growing, become quite a grim place. King Enope did not have a treasury, for Suibut had been given that. He did not have any property for income, for Laernu had been given that. He did not have an army to protect the people, for Lysiphetra had been given that. Furthermore, as he was but a child, all decisions in the kingdom went through Enope's rather corrupt council. It had become a bureaucratic, exploitative land of high taxes, rampant crime, and regular incursions from neighboring kingdoms. Not a particularly unusual situation for a kingdom of Tamriel, but an unpleasant one nonetheless. The time finally came when the tax collector arrived to Druzhba's hovel, such as it was, to collect the only thing he could, the floor. Rather than protest, the poor shy maid ran away, and Eslav never saw her again. Without a home or a mother, Eslav did not know what to do. He had grown accustomed to the cold open air in Druzhba's shack, but he was hungry. "May I have a piece of meat?" he asked the butcher down the street. "I'm very hungry." The man had known the boy for years, often spoke to his wife about how sorry he felt for him, growing up in a home with no ceilings or walls. He smiled at Eslav and said, "Go away, or I'll hit you." Eslav hurriedly left the butcher and went to a nearby tavern. The tavern keeper had been a former valet in the king's court, and knew that the boy was by right a prince. Many times, he had seen the poor ragged lad in the streets, and sighed at the way fate had treated him. "May I have something to eat?" Eslav asked the tavern keeper. "I'm very hungry." "You're lucky I don't cook you, eat you up," replied the tavern keeper. Eslav hurriedly left the tavern. For the rest of the day, the boy approached the good citizens of Erelgard, begging for food. One person had thrown something at him, but it turned out to be an inedible rock. As night fell, a raggedy man came up to Eslav and, without saying a word, handed him a piece of fruit and a piece of dried meat. The lad took it, wide-eyed, and as he devoured it, he thanked the man very sweetly. "If I see you begging on the streets tomorrow," the man growled, "I'll kill you myself. There are only so many beggars we of the guild allow in any one town, and you make it one too many. You're ruining business." It was a good thing Eslav Errol knew how to run. He ran all night. Eslav Errol's story is continued in the book Thief.
A coin or two for a veteran? It's not much to ask.
Come on in. Just stoke the fire. Take a seat. Get the cold out. Are you feeling sick?
I'd like to rent a room.
Sure thing. It's yours for a day.
Stupid
I'll show
dog.
you to your room. Right this way. Let me know. Anything else you need? Stupid dog.
It's your time to do it as you please. But what about those who depend on you so much?
Welcome. Let me know if you want anything. Think I got a clean mug around here somewhere.
You look a bit peaked. You sure you shouldn't be home in bed? Can I buy you a drink, darling?
You can buy me whatever you want.
can I help you? Mind yourself in my city, friend. This here axe in full swing is a right terrible sight. That's a load off my mind. Here's your pay. Fight well.
You get around, right? If you come across any storm cloaks, got one for me, huh? They did the same to my brother in Whiterun.
Don't you have trouble getting ripe goods here?
It's been easier lately. The Blackblood Marauders haven't been here since the Ice Runner attack, so my shipments have been more regular.
I bet you get some interesting people through here.
Everyone who's anyone. Viarmo bought an apple the other day. Said he was looking for a new student. Come back when you figure out how to spend money.